What's going on, noobs? I am Rory, the Perpetual Noob, and welcome back to another exciting Hollow Knight boss discussion. This is the 16th video in a series where I'll be discussing each boss of Hollow Knight, where we can find them, how we can defeat them, and how does this boss fit into the world of Hollow Knight. Today, we'll be talking about Lost Kin. Lost Kin is another dream boss. To access a dream boss, we need the dream nail, and we acquire the dream nail when we go to the resting grounds and inspect a large statue. This leads to a sequence with some platforming, ending with a moth, called the Seer, giving us the dream nail and rescuing us. Dream bosses are faster and stronger than their real-world versions. This boost is offset by the fact that if we lose the fight, it doesn't count as a death. We just return to the real world with an empty soul bubble, and we can quickly return to the boss fight. We can find Lost Kin right where we left Broken Vessel, at the far left of the ancient basin. Their corpse is marked with the telltale dreamy floating bits. We hit their body with the dream nail and are transported to the dream realm. After a lot of hops onto a lot of materializing platforms, we arrive in the arena of Lost Kin. Lost Kin's attacks are very similar to Broken Vessel's, but there are still a few differences. The slam attack spawns 6 blobs rather than 4. The balloon attack occurs more frequently. There is no headbanger attack, so no metal music this episode. And the biggest difference is that Lost Kin attacks almost constantly. Lost Kin will leap towards us and try to land on our head. Lost Kin telegraphs this attack when they compress their body. Their cloak kind of folds inward at the bottom, and Lost Kin lowers their head almost to the ground. Then they leap into the air. It's a little difficult to see this motion because Lost Kin hunches over when they walk. It's doubly difficult because Lost Kin also leaps to simply move around the arena rather than land on our heads. Let's call this attack the Leap Attack. Lost Kin will dash forward, slashing with their nail. This attack can happen on the ground or in the air. If Lost Kin performs this attack in the air, they will be just high enough to dash over our head. This attack travels about 75% of the entire battleground. Lost Kin telegraphs this attack when they stand in place and lift their head as if they're looking towards us. Then, in a moment, Lost Kin leans forward, their hand grabs their nail, and the dash begins. Lost Kin telegraphs the slash when, during the dash, they turn their head to look up and behind themselves. The slash doesn't start until about midway during the dash and ends before Lost Kin finishes their dash. There is very little difference between the air and ground versions of this attack. Let's call this attack the Slash Attack. Lost Kin swings their nail rapidly in an overhead arc left and right 4 times. Lost Kin telegraphs this attack when they stand in place, reach their hand up to grab their nail, and turn their head to face the sky. Lost Kin holds this position for about half a second before swinging their nail to and fro. Let's call this attack the Flail Attack. Lost Kin leaps into the air and then slams down, the impact of which creating 6 blobs of infection that rise up and away in parabolic arcs at set distances from Lost Kin. Lost Kin targets us when they leap, but slams straight down where we were at the start of the leap. Lost Kin telegraphs this attack like they would for a leap attack. Partway through the arc, however, Lost Kin stops in midair, their cloak billowing and their hand reaching up to grab their nail. They stay in midair for barely half a second before starting the slam. The slam is telegraphed when Lost Kin draws their nail and points it straight down. Lost Kin slams down at us, leading with their nail. When Lost Kin hits the ground, the 6 blobs of infection emanate from Lost Kin. The blobs spend a little time below the ground before rising, putting a little distance between each of them before becoming dangerous to us. Let's call this whole process the Slam Attack. Lost Kin will spawn an infected balloon enemy. This happens almost constantly throughout the battle. The infected balloon enemy spawns somewhere in the air. This attack is telegraphed by the appearance of a small swirling formation of infection. Within about a half second, an infected balloon spawns at the point of swirling infection, and it will float straight towards us. Let's call this attack the Balloon Attack. Broken Vessel was a tough boss. Lost Kin is one of the toughest bosses in all of Hollow Knight. I first tried to beat Lost Kin right after beating Broken Vessel. Those attempts did not go well. I was not equipped to handle Lost Kin's hyper-aggression. So many of Lost Kin's attacks track us or cover huge amounts of the arena. It was nearly impossible to stay out of harm's way, and I got really frustrated with this boss. I left the Ancient Basin and wandered Hallownest, finding more charms and charm notches, gaining more hit points, finding more spells, and forging a stronger nail. Then, it was finally time to return to the Ancient Basin, only to get my face smashed in one more time before I finally figured out my magic combination to defeating Lost Kin. Lost Kin's attacks can be mitigated the same way as Broken Vessel's attacks. We've just got to be a whole lot quicker with our reactions, which I know is easier said than done. Jump over the grounded slash attack and hit Lost Kin with a downward slash. Walk or dash under the aerial slash attack and hit Lost Kin with an upward slash. Stay on the ground within the safe spaces during the slam attack and get a hit or two after Lost Kin lands. Walk or dash away from the leap attack and get a hit or two after Lost Kin lands. Walk, dash, and jump away from those infected balloons, or just bop them with anything that does at least 1 damage. My successful fight against Lost Kin was not elegant. I got hit by each Lost Kin attack at least once. I apparently struggled the most against the grounded slash attack and the leap attack, because sometimes Lost Kin is just leaping to move rather than leaping onto my head. After nearly a dozen failed attempts, I changed tactics and went the failed champion route to face tank the whole fight. My equipped charms for the victorious battle were Thorns of Agony, Quick Slash, Joni's Blessing, and Lifeblood Heart. Lost Kin has 1200 health. My Coiled Nail does only 17 damage. That's a lot of nail hits on the most aggressive boss I've encountered so far. I had 1 charm notch left. I knew I was going to be hit a lot, so Thorns of Agony needed to occupy that notch. The double nail damage provided by Thorns of Agony was incredibly helpful with bringing Lost Kin down. The large range and coverage of the Thorns of Agony tendrils were a huge help in destroying any nearby infected balloons, too. Combine that with a ton of hit points, and Thorns of Agony was a solid choice. Having the Coiled Nail was a huge help in this fight. I might have ended this fight faster had I used spells, but that isn't my preferred playstyle. Quick Slash allowed me to get tons of nail hits on Lost Kin in a short period of time, especially when Lost Kin was staggered. In my victorious fight, I staggered Lost Kin several times, and each stagger state granted me an average of 3 nail hits. I tried to dodge Lost Kin's attacks. I really did. But after several failed attempts, I switched gears and just accepted the fact that I was going to be hit by Lost Kin. So I equipped Joni's Blessing to grant me an extra 50% plus 1 hit points, totaling 5 extra hit points. And I added Lifeblood Heart because when I use Joni's Blessing, I'm cool with getting 2 more hit points for 2 charm notches. This meant I had a total of 15 hit points, which meant I could get hit 14 times. Incredibly, the fight didn't come down to that last hit point. Lost Kin may seem overwhelming at first, but there are some particular tactics that can make this fight a lot simpler. Desolate Dive is still a good spell because of the invincibility it provides. Vengeful Spirit works against many of Lost Kin's attacks, especially the ones that don't cover the entire battleground. Howling Wraiths, with some really good positioning, would be fantastic in this fight because Lost Kin spends so much time in the air. If spells are your thing, you can't go wrong with the Shaman Stone and Spell Twister Charm. It is possible to heal during a Lost Kin fight. There's enough time to heal during the Flail Attack, and if you're on the opposite side of the arena, the Slash Attack and Slam Attack. There's also tons of time to heal when Lost Kin is staggered. If you equip the Quick Focus Charm, these healing opportunities become even better, and you can safely heal 2 or more hit points. If you're looking to save a charm notch, Baldur's Shell would also be a solid option to keep you safe from Lost Kin's onslaught while you heal a hit point or 2. You might have noticed that Lost Kin's nail is longer than our own, so charms like Long Nail and Mark of Pride can give our own nails similar reach. A key charm for this fight, probably the most useful charm for this fight, is Defender's Crest. Thank you to Noob Fish Sif for being the first to teach me about this. The Hollow Knight wiki also mentions this tactic, and I can confirm that Defender's Crest is so helpful in this fight. Since Lost Kin spams the balloon attack like crazy, having this aura that deals 1 to 3 damage every second takes out the infected balloons with no extra effort from us. Just be careful when dashing. Combine Defender's Crest with this Forest Room charm and you get a huge damaging cloud whenever you can successfully heal. The size of this cloud grants you almost total aerial freedom for several seconds. The Hollow Knight wiki mentions one particular tactic that I wish I had recognized when I fought against Lost Kin. Stay on the ground as much as possible, except to dodge the grounded slash attack. Lost Kin tends to move around the arena by jumping or being in the air in some fashion, so staying on the ground is much safer. There are times when Lost Kin will be staggered. You'll know when Lost Kin is staggered because the hit will sound different, and Lost Kin will be knocked back by our attack and remain motionless with their head tilted back. At that time, you can use anything to maximize your damage safely because Lost Kin remains stunned for a couple seconds. Or take this time to heal. I recommend upgrading the Mothwing Cloak ability to the Shade Cloak. The Shade Cloak is found at the bottom right of the Abyss, and it grants us the ability to safely dash through enemies and their attacks. Lost Kin attacks so often that even with the Shade Cloak, you wouldn't be able to dash safely through every attack, but even being able to dash through half of Lost Kin's attacks is better than nothing. I credit my victory heavily to my coiled nail, so I recommend upgrading your nail at the Nailsmith, who resides at the bottom left of the City of Tears. And I highly recommend finding more charms and charm notches, and collecting mask shards to gain more hit points. Please see the Soulmaster video for a more in-depth general discussion about playstyles and charm combinations. Once Lost Kin is defeated, we are returned to the real world. Instead of the typical listen interaction we get with other dream bosses, we can accept. I love this touch because, like us, Broken Vessel does not have a voice. What would we be listening to? When we accept, Broken Vessel bows to us before we receive 400 essence, which helps us get closer to awakening our dream nail. See Hornet Part 2 for more info about that. With Broken Vessel's bow, I see appreciation. But that does raise the question, appreciation for what? Is Broken Vessel happy to be set free? Was their sustained existence infection-filled torture? We know Broken Vessel was a vessel like us. But how did Broken Vessel end up left in the ancient basin rather than the abyss like 99% of the other dead, empty vessels? How did Broken Vessel's soul remain for them to even have a dream, and yet be so empty that their vessel could be overtaken with infection? For me, Broken Vessel's existence and where we find them raises so many questions about Hallownest and the Pale King and vessels in general. That's it for our boss discussion about Lost Kin. Thank you for joining me today, Noobs. Stay tuned for future Hollow Knight boss videos. If you've got any thoughts about Lost Kin, either about the fight or about them as a character in the world of Hollow Knight, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. I am the Perpetual Noob, and I'll see you all next time.